Hey, my name is Maria. I am a seasoned professional specializing in self-leadership and negotiation skills. I come from a very humble beginning. I was born in Russia, in the middle of nowhere, like as far no middle of nowhere as you can imagine. So it was a very small village. But I always somehow knew that it was not where I'm going to grow, where I'm going to end. So I always had hunger and interest to go abroad, to do something different. My friends from when we were kids, from 5 years old, remember me saying, little Maria, 5 years, saying that I will be living in Paris. I don't think I even knew Paris was a country or a city. When I was 18, I had an opportunity to move to Ireland. So you can imagine a Russian girl, never been outside of Russia. My level of English was from a Russian village school. So when I got there, my English was actually pretty good. I could speak very well. I had some grammar, but I couldn't understand a single word. Pretty much at 18 years old, I was homeless. I had no money. I had no language. I had absolutely nothing except for an incredible drive and belief that I should and I deserve more and I can do more. So from there, I started building step by step. I went to work in McDonald's like most kids do at that age. I worked there for 5 years. I grew from a staff to a staff manager. Like I made major promotions in that company for 5 years, running the restaurants. It was really actually quite a fundamental experience for me. And that's actually also where I've learned that a lot of things are what you make out of them. Because a lot of people who worked in McDonald's at the time, they were not really proud of their job, and they were like, oh, this is my side gig. For me, McDonald's was like, it provided me with food, it paid for my education, it paid for my housing. I was able to support my family. And step by step, I made multiple promotions, and basically I just wanted to get better, I wanted to learn. So my mindset already was then showing, whatever you do, try to get as good at it as you can. Like if you're doing something, then really, then do it right. So that was the first, I would say, experience, or maybe an example where I start seeing that, my mindset is actually really getting myself further, even though I was much more disadvantaged from other people because of language gap. So I did my bachelor's while working full-time. And already at that time, I knew, oh my God, I don't want to stick in retail. I don't want to work in catering industry. I really, really, really want to an office job. And at the time, all I wanted was an office job. I wanted to get out of the kitchen. That was basically it. So I started applying for jobs already in my third year at McDonald's, but I had no experience. I was doing my bachelor's. So clearly, I had not much to offer to the market. So for 2 years, every day, I applied for jobs everywhere in the world. I didn't care. I didn't care if I didn't fully qualify for a role. I just applied and I hoped and I dreamed that they call me for interview. And maybe eventually out of 1,000 opportunities, there will be one that would work out. And there was this one that worked out finally, after 2 years of applying and failing. And that job was in Amsterdam in a logistics company. The experience of applying for 2 years for jobs and getting a no thank you, or most of the time not even getting an answer, it's actually quite interesting because I think it taught me that once you fail so many times, you don't actually care anymore at failing. I got comfortable at failing. I just didn't anymore take it as a personal. I was like, okay, it's just another failure, but I know that I cannot continue failing for the rest of my life. Eventually, something will work out of it. Practicing failure is a great thing because once you get comfortable with it, it doesn't touch you as much anymore. Since there, I came to Amsterdam, very low salary, very low position. In 12 years, I basically, salary-wise or income-wise, I would say 6 times my first salary in 12 years. I've went through many different roles. And at the end of the day, I feel like what was kept on driving me was the hunger to get better and the hunger to learn something new. And I think that's what has kept me going into the new promotion roles and learning. So the learning as a focus at the center, I think what has been driving me forward. I started martial arts in my beginning of my 30s, and until then I didn't really do any sport. Never actually had any interest, especially in martial arts. For me, it just seemed like something just too brutal and like, wow, is that even a sport? But the life events happened and I ended up in a dojo, in a martial arts gym. And I must say that martial arts have given me an experience where if I look at my life before, I know I'm a fighter by who I am. But martial arts have also shown me that, because it's not always that obvious, the strength that you have. Martial arts made it exceptionally obvious. It brought out in me all the strength that I have, and the power. And it's been such an amazing experience because, I knew I'm a strong person, I'm a strong woman, but as I started doing martial arts, I started being able to own it in a way that, you take that confidence off the mats into the world, and even my posture changed, the way I talk changed, the way I build relationship with people changed, because I was more confident and I'm more sure of myself and less inclined to settle for less. So yeah, martial arts I think it's almost completed my journey in some way of the self-discovery, of the fighter on and off the mats. Also, when I got into martial arts, what was striking for me is the similarities between the corporate world and the issues or topics related to women. How that was between corporate and martial arts world, how close they were, on how similar the topics were. When we talk about women in corporate, one of the common things is a pay gap or equal opportunities, or just representation, right? Exposure in general. When you look at martial arts, it's all the same, but even more exaggerated in the sense that martial arts is just so much more behind in that evolvement and in the gender equality. It's really striking me how similar the topics are. I felt like there is a place for women taking more lead in martial arts towards creating that space for women. Waiting for space being created for you, it's in my opinion, it's a very unproductive way of taking space. Actually, taking the lead and making that space is what is needed. And I feel like this is exactly what we are doing as FeMMA. We're bringing women together and we are, claiming our space and saying, we are women in martial arts and this is what we need to be successful in this industry, in this sport. And I think that's beautiful. So for the last 12 years, I've been working for corporate companies in different roles, and my specialty and what I've been doing, what I'm specializing is negotiation and leadership. In terms of negotiation, I've been working in procurement and business roles, so that's actually my bread and butter. That's what I'm good at, not that I have been practicing and honing for the last years. For over a decade. And speaking of leadership and self-leadership, I have also not only led people as well, led teams, but actually, at the beginning of the interview, we talked about my journey. I think a lot of things that I have gone through in my life and where I'm today is really down to the self-leadership that I honed for myself and that mindset. But also, it's not only about being tough, because if you're only tough on yourself constantly, you can come to also a breaking point. So it's being smart about leading yourself. And, when we think about leadership, we usually think about a good manager or like a good leader who helps you grow in your career and so on and so forth. We rarely think about, we're the leaders ourselves. And am I a good leader to myself? Would I want to be managed by, have an external leader like me telling me what to do? Am I kind? Am I celebrating my successes? Am I strict with myself when I need to be? Am I honest to myself about where I am? Am I critical, self-critical? Do I understand, what I need to work on, and so on and so forth. So I have put a lot of thoughts into it. I have also done a lot of practicing this, leaving it, let's say. So I really feel like what I have learned over the years, bringing that to a table and sharing it with women will help them as well to maybe not make the same mistakes, or even maybe shape some of their thinking when it comes to them thinking about their career or whatever the goals they set in front of them. So I just want to, my goal with FeMMA, bringing this experience, is to share the things that I wish I knew earlier, which helped me to be successful. That is what I'm bringing to the table. I believe that anybody can be successful with the right mindset. So follow along as I'm going to teach you tips and tricks that I've learned in self-leadership and negotiation. Like and subscribe and join our FeMMA family.